Hello, how are you doing? Welcome to the first Yokimo Youth Online. This is Youth Split, and I am your host, Shel Njogu. Today, we are honored to have a guest for the second time, Amos Gachiri. Hi.
Hi.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And today we are speaking about stock taking or self-reflection. And just to start off, do you stock take, like your personal stock taking? Because normally businesses do stock takings. They check how their businesses have been for the year and such type of things, but we don't get to do it in our personal lives, and that's what we want to drive today. So do you do self-reflection?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Well, as you've just explained, it lets you know where you are, what you need to do, what you have left in inventory, and what part of that inventory needs to change according to the business that you're trying to do and your goals. So, yeah, so just like a business.
Yeah. What do you think is the importance, or what are the importances of self-reflection?
Okay, so I will try and go with what you said. So I'll try and go it approach this in terms of a business. So you take stock for a business so that you know how much you've spent, how much you're going to get from the inventory that you've bought once you've sold. You want to know, according to the kind of demand that you're getting, what kind of stock do you have? Is it meeting those demands, or do you need to change it? You want to know if you're ready for the next season, because maybe the business is seasonal. You might also want to know if maybe your goods are perishable, if they're those that have already spoiled. You want to know if the people you paid to bring you the inventory, if they've actually brought you the goods they said in terms of amounts, quality, at the right price. So you want to check your invoices, you want to check your delivery notes of this society. If you think about it in now your personal life, you want to know if you've met your goals. You want to know if you're ready for the next goal that you're trying to get. You want to know if the season that you're being able to do as you should, and are you ready for the next season? You want to know if now, Sasa, if your financials are good, your health is good, your relationships are good, and so on and so forth.
How do you make sure that your stock taking is effective?
Well, then I first believe you need to start with the data of what's the business, of which, who are you, what are you trying to achieve, what goods should you be having, who are your clients, meaning who is around you, what benchmarks do you have for yourself. Then once you have that idea, then you know what you're headed for. Then you backtrack it and you judge it on that scale. Then it becomes quite easy. You could even so it on a percentage perspective. Now this is very relative, according to what your degree of scale of 0 to 100 is. So let's say you wanted to save 100,000 in 4 months. That's totally different than somebody who thinks they want to save 1,000,000. So, but the percentages will always be the same if you think on it about that scale. Because if you have 20,000, you've already saved a fifth, which is 20%. So then when you know that the goal is 100 Gs, when you say you save 20 Gs, you could be able to benchmark it to something so you know if it's working or not. Then you might even now get to a point where maybe 100,000 is not realistic. or maybe in the first week and you're supposed to save in 3 months, you've already saved 20. Then 100,000 is not realistic, not on a negative scale, but on a positive scale. You can do better. You raise the goal.
Yeah. And also on the effectiveness, I think it would be also good to compare, like the way you say calendar year, the previous one, and compare it to the now, so that you can know, are there things that or am I being effective in the way I'm achieving my goals?
Yeah. So now that's the point about being realistic about your goals. So another big problem that happens is you're trying to benchmark your goals with what you've seen when it's not realistic for you.
Yeah.
So this data about what's realistic for you comes from the past. If you've never saved a shilling, there's no way you're going to say in 3 months, I'm going to save 1 million.
True.
Or even your source of funds is really, really small. So you need to check what has been your past source of funds. What have you been doing to make yourself ready to get any type of funds previously? Who are now? This could also go on a social perspective. If you're not an outgoing person, you're an introvert, and then you say you want to have 10 friends, and you only have had two for the past 3 years, and not just friends, acquaintances, like really, really strong friends, it becomes highly unrealistic. At most, you can say 4 or 3. So this realism comes with what you've had in the past, and then you benchmark to the future.
Yeah, because you realize that, and actually, that's why I wanted to do this topic right now, because you'll find in the beginning of the year, that's when people are like setting goals, and this year I want to achieve this and this, and you realize that you get influenced by what is happening, but not what is happening inside you. And there is, it's usually sorry, because you notice that within the first 2 months you've already forgotten your goals, or they become even frustrating to pursue, because you um you set goals in relation to what other people are achieving in their lives, instead of what you need for your life.
So it's just setting yourself up for failure. However, there's also a way you can set up yourself up for failure, but positively. So let's say you said you're going to save by the end of the year, from now to the end of the year, 100,000. So that's achievable, and you're totally sure it's achievable. So you can say this: we have 3 months left, yes, or 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
So you can say, I was going to achieve in 2.5 months 100,000. Let's do this. I will save in the next 1 month 100,000. You know it's not possible. You've set yourself up for failure. But you can fast track, because now you work really, really hard. And then you might not achieve it, but within that 1 month, you'll have pushed yourself higher than the 1 month previously by giving yourself 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So let's say if it's 2.5 months and you're supposed to save 100,000, that could be maybe like 33,000 in every a month and a half, maybe. No, 3/4 of a month. So within a month, you say you're gonna do 60. You failed from hitting 100,000, but you're higher than 33.
Yeah. Although, does it work though? Because I think, let's look at this. In the months of November and December, there are a lot of celebrations and people eat a lot. And come January, you're like, I'll I'll reduce by maybe 10 kgs, 20. And then you start your workout. The first day, your cardio, it's like no. And you get frustrated. in looking at maybe an influencer who said that they're going to the gym and they keep constantly going to the gym, but what you didn't know mentally is that that person was mentally prepared for that even before January came, and you're comparing yourself to that person with the decision that they made before the year started, and you've made the decision at that moment.
I feel like we should first break down what influencer is, because then there's a misconception. Because what people forget is that when you're an influencer, you're actually getting paid to do this thing. So it's totally different. If, let's say, body fitness, this person is being paid to go to the gym. This is their job. They should be there between 8 to 5. It's totally different than you who's at the office and you go to the gym an hour and you're trying to compare yourself with somebody who's being paid to lift weights. If somebody's supposed to dress up, like I see a lot of people are into people like Kim Kardashian and so forth. Like if you ask me what's her product, it's nothing but marketing. She doesn't do anything else but market. So she's supposed to remain fit. She's supposed to look good every day. If you're comparing and benchmarking to, it's totally different than your career. If you're doing like data or you're
Yeah.
doing computer science, you can't match up. So again, you're using the wrong
Scale.
yes.
So now let's discuss our losses, accepting our losses, because I think sometimes it can be hard forgiving ourselves. And just using the example that you're using on money, maybe I was serious about setting, and I could have made, I could have gotten to a certain goal, but I didn't because of lack of proper planning. How do we forgive ourselves, or how do we move past our mistakes or losses?
So this is about identifying yourself, figuring yourself out. So sometimes we lose because, as we are saying, we've not figured out who we are, and that will happen all the way up until death. So you need to realize that you're always
Evolving.
finding out,
Yeah.
finding out more about yourself. So you will miss things because of finding out new things that you did not know. Like if you knew, you would not put yourself in that situation. So sometimes you find our discipline fails because we find out that we put ourselves in a situation where there was this thing that attracted us against our goal. And now you've known something new, but it has come through a loss. So if you're very dedicated to what you're trying to do, you will try again, and then you'll take away that stimulus. You'll put yourself in a slightly different situation without that, the thing that made you stray away. So I feel like I'd give an example. You're trying to stay fit, and then the one thing about you kenye kumaliza ni chipo. So the first day ulienda gym, and then ukirudi ukapata chipo, you had some money, you bought it, so you feel bad about it. So the next day you use a different route going home because you don't want to pass place yenye utapata kunanuka chipo and stuff. So you found out something new about yourself, but you've had to go through a loss.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I like the way you've touched on being having to evolve. I call it giving yourself grace, because I think if you give yourself grace and accept that you're a human full of weaknesses, that's the only way that you're able to move past your mistakes. And the other thing is, I think that we should take notice of it's being realistic while setting our goals, because just using your example, if I realize that I have a certain weakness of cheapo, then I'll know that if I starve myself from taking cheapo like throughout the 6 months that I'll be working out, I'm most probably going to fail. But if I say, okay, um, I like cheapo, but again, I have this goal. So what I'm going to do is I can take cheapo maybe once in 2 weeks, and that will make it easier for me to achieve the goal. And yeah.
Also, you could also attend it like this. You say, maybe I've not understood the goal enough. Example, we are saying you're trying to get fit. So maybe I've just understood the basic level of why I'm trying to get fit. So if I broke down why I'm trying to get fit enough, I'd find something within that a stronger point for me to give up fries if I actually found it. So, but if I look deep down into the reason why I'm trying to get fit and I can't see something stronger than not eating fries,
Yeah.
then why am I trying to get fit?
Yeah.
Am I trying to get fit because everybody's trying to get fit?
Yeah. Or am I trying to make it a lifestyle, and that becomes a bigger goal than actually the losing of weight? Yeah. So talk to us about celebrating our wins and somehow not getting caught up in the win as well, because you realize an actor was saying, I was listening to an actor last week, and he said that he won a certain award, and he was like, yo, I'm good, doors have opened, and for the whole of that year no one even called, and he got a prestigious prize, but he had to still work to get to auditions and all that stuff.
Um, so when you're getting that award, that's just recognition meeting success. So you have been successful every day you showed up. You've been successful every day you've worked hard, and all your actions have been successful. Now the only thing that's happened is people have recognized it and given you an award on that day. So when you view it as such, it becomes quite easy because then celebration is every day that you succeed. If you wake up, so I've always seen people try to take celebrations on like on birthdays or like special occasions. So that's why I feel like sometimes things that shouldn't be that big become very big because it's like the day everybody celebrates. But that should not be it. That should be, you should celebrate in small quantities almost every day whenever you have a win. Or after maybe 10 wins, of which would be you've done something successful 10 times, you've gotten 10 new clients, take yourself out for lunch. Don't go out for lunch just because it's your birthday or your friend's birthday.
Yeah. So still on setting goals, you find that, let's assume it's the new year or whatever time that someone sets their goal, and I have like these 11 or 10 goals, but again, and it's something legit that I desire to achieve, but you realize by the half or the first 4 months of the year I can't keep track of my goals. How do we set like realistic goals?
So there's a first basics principle where you start with what you're dreaming of, and then you break it really, really, really down to the first principles of what exactly is it. So there are always like the on top luxuries, and then there are those principles that have to be there. So if you notice you have too many things up on there, you start taking away all the luxuries and you main with the most important first principles. You'd rather have a car that's moving than have a car that's has airbag, no, have a car that's not moving and has airbags, has the radio, has whatnot, has rims. Yet you could just have a stock car, basic, with no, uh, with no, what do they call it, fritz, with no all those luxury stuff,
Yeah.
and it takes you from A to B. So you'd be more, it's more functional more than luxurious. So you'd rather have really, really functional goals. And then once the functional goals are actually working, add some more feel good points.
And would you, okay, I've noticed this trend online where people are setting goals like monthly. Do you, like, in your own opinion, do you set goals weekly, monthly, quarterly, half
So
yearly?
it just matters what you're trying to do. Um, if you're trying to gain mass, it's in every meal. If you're trying to save, it's in every time you get paid. If you're trying to get more in touch with God, it's on every minute, every day. So it's what are you trying to achieve? Then benchmark it really well. Don't give yourself too big of a space, yet don't give yourself too thin of a space. Because then if it's too thin, it starts boggling you out, starts becoming quite hard. You just get tired. And man is to love of comfort. If it's too long, you begin to forget. And once you start failing on it, then every time you're just like, "Ah, okay, I could fail again." And then it becomes a trend.
Yeah, and also something I'm looking forward to maybe achieve, or a goal I want to set. It's just, I just want to have one goal for the coming year. Then from that goal, I can break it down to other parts of whatever thing I want to achieve, but it's it's being described by one goal only. What's your take on that? Like having just one goal, then breaking it down to, or defining it. I can say that defining it to other areas of your life.
Yes, so it's possible. So it just comes with an analysis of what's the most important to you. So you could start, we could use like the United Nations, for example. They have one goal and then they broke it down to 11, if 12, or maybe however number of SDGs, sustainable development goals, and then each sustainable development goal has something in it. Maybe you could say it's clean water, or you could say it's eradication of poverty. So for you it would be, maybe example, you want to be value adding. Then you ask yourself, how can I add value? What can I be able to do, me as myself? So you find out, maybe I could add value to my family, to myself, to society, and to then family. How? Then you see it already has already started a T. So from value adding, then to family,
Yeah, yeah,
society, to
yeah,
yourself, to your friends, then to your family. How? You break it down. So by the end of the day, you have a really well thought out tree. And then now you start benchmarking on each of those along the tree.
yeah.
How's it working?
I'll tell you that next year whether it will work. Hopefully, it will. And now, on the last part is the journaling, and I'm not sure that you journal. And no, this is regarding realizing our strengths, our creative selves, or whatever we want to discover about ourselves. And you find when you journal, if I started journaling, let's say we are in 2020, let's say 2018, and it's very possible to notice a certain trend, and it becomes, I think, I look at it as a method of self-reflecting, because it's very easy to notice certain themes that are recurring, that you just noted down from your subconscious mind. What's your take on that?
I totally agree, because I feel like when you take action into something is bringing in an extra sense. because we put a lot of stuff in our mind, and the more senses you involve, the more stronger you are in touch with that thing. So if I told you close your eyes and then I tried to explain to you about a ball, you just visualize it, you would not see it. But if your eyes are still closed, and after I've just explained a ball, I bounce it on the floor. When you hear it, it starts beginning to a clearer picture. Then I bring the ball close to you with your eyes still closed. You touch it, becomes a bit more extra when you bring in texture. Then you smell it maybe. Then at the end, I tell you, open your eyes now, look at the ball. At the end of it, you understand the ball very seriously. You even understand the if it's made of plastic, is it made of leather? It's more than somebody who just maybe just saw the ball and that's it. If you play with it, it's a bit more sensory, but even go to a point where you actually smell it, you might even tell where the ball has been or even the what it's made of. So the more senses you add on, you could think about it, talk about it, write about it. The more senses you add on, the more solid that thing becomes and the more likelihood that you're actually going to achieve it.
Yeah, and the last one bit of self-reflecting I'd like us to talk about, it's the where you give your friends, your family, and ask them to note down your strengths and your weaknesses. I think it's a good method.
Um, there's this weakness we have as human beings where we are very imaginatory, and sometimes our dreams can come and overlay on reality. And then also we have this thing called the ego. So the ego is not. The ego is actually very neutral, but then it starts becoming negative sometimes, but it's mostly highly positive. I'll explain. So when you're born with nothing. Then so visualize an empty square. So that's you. But almost at the end, you have those data sets that have been passed down through every human. You're supposed to breathe, but that takes a really, really small part of your brain. But then you have nothing. So with having nothing, you must have something. So that's the ego. It's
Yeah.
just like when you have a room, if you have nothing, you have air. It allows the room not to collapse. If you take away the air out of this room, the walls will fall down because you've created a vacuum with nothing. So it has to have something. So it will pull in the walls so that those walls could come in. So that's you. You have nothing, but you have to have ego so that you don't collapse. So now the problem comes with you are now aware that you should replace this ego with things like self-respect, technical know-how. So you lie to yourself a lot, and you lie to yourself to survive ego. Like if I met the president today, why would I be able to talk to him as well achieved as he is, and I judge myself? And remember, judging yourself is not bad, because remember, we are not us, we are someone overlooking. So there's a computer that's working, and then we are the computer we are the people who actually get the data from the computer after it's already calculated and then decide what to do.
The output.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So decide to do what to do with the output. So you're always going to judge yourself. So how will I not function because of the output that I'm getting? I've just met the president. There's nothing really that I can be able to offer this man. Immediately what's supposed to happen is I'm supposed to feel really, really small. I'm supposed to collapse in on myself. But the only thing that makes me not do that is there's an ego telling me I'm important. It's lying to me. That's the only reason I survive. But I also need to be aware of the fact that there's an ego lying to me. And the only way I can beat that, because I cannot stretch out of myself, is have other people tell me what they can see, because there's a huge ego around me lying to me.
Yeah.
So since they are standing outside, they can be able to tell you, this is you. So now the only thing you can be able to tell them most of the time is about your intentions and how you feel. But other people can be able to tell you better what you're doing, how it's affecting others, and who you are.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Anything that you'd like to add on self-reflection?
Um, you need to be kind of, when you're self-reflecting, you need to be at a certain state. Don't just always self-reflect also. You need to, if you feel, it's okay to feel that this is too heavy for you, especially if what you're trying to achieve is very, very important and you feel like you're failing. Before you begin to self-reflect, you actually feel like, I don't feel like I'm in the right state of mind. I feel like this is going to hit on me really seriously. So it's also good to just push it or find something that will help you feel better, or look for a small win and then go and look at this huge failure that you're having, but do not push it away too far. Just like get yourself ready to be able to go and
Yeah.
look at it, because sometimes you feel that's where you get to a point where you're self-reflecting, which is good, but you're not strong enough or you're not ready enough. You get to the point where it cascades down to self-pity, and worst case scenario, you go all the way down to suicide.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amos. That's it, guys, for today's show. Until next Friday. Bye.